Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. As always, on the fourth Wednesday of the month, I'm joined by Mark LaBarr, conservation biologist for Audubon, Vermont. Great to see you.
Always great to be here. Now,
Audubon had a pretty exciting guest in town at the end of June.
We did, and I have talked about this on a couple previous shows. David Sibley came in. Now, David Sibley is, people have called him the rock star birder. He is also the author of a number of different books, including the Sibley Guide, which is one of those books that many birders use these days.
It's a Bible for birders?
It's a Bible for birders. They're all hand-drawn images that he's been doing. He's been birding for years, and we were fortunate, Audubon Vermont was fortunate to bring him in.
Pretty exciting community event.
It is, and it's funny because you know, the birding community really to get there, we had, Main Street Landing is where we held the event, and the seats were pretty much sold out relatively quickly. And not sold out, it was, it was basically free. You could contribute, but there were about 250 folks. David came in, gave a great presentation. There was a good crowd of folks that were out there, almost a packed house. And it's funny because you walk into that, and as we're prepping, you're bumping into all these birders that you see online or you see when you're out birding, and yet when you ask like some of the staff that are there at Main Street Landing, they're kind of a little oblivious to actually who David Sibley is. But it was a great talk. He talked about how we perceive things as birders, how when we go out in the field and we want to find a particular bird, we get that image in our mind, and sometimes we find it, and sometimes we just think we found it. And so he gave a couple of great examples of his own personal experiences driving through Arizona and seeing a vermilion flycatcher that turned out to just be a piece of red tape. And then even his last little bit was going out one time at Cape May in order to look for a shrike. And he found one on a fence post, but it turned out that it was actually just the upper portion and the neck and the head of a great egret. But he so wanted to see that shrike, as many of us do when we go out, that we visually get that image in our mind. And
so that happens to even the best of the best.
And yes, and so that was what he was joking about, because of course, David Sibley, being the birder that he is and the time he has spent in the field, and then, all the images that he draws, he still has those moments, and reflected upon that's a chance as a birder to just reevaluate how you approach going out in the field.
Did people in the audience get a chance to talk to him?
They did. Afterwards, what was nice, there was a book signing. The book that I have is his old version. He's got a second edition out now, and so he was able to write notes and sign people's books, and there was a large line. Took a little time to get through, just because he did take some time to speak with individuals as they came up.
It's pretty nice.
It was. It was a great event all around. And people really enjoyed it, and it was great for us at Audubon Vermont to be able to host it.
But your adventure didn't stop there.
It didn't stop there. So part of the whole time that David Sibley was up there, we had a bird walk the next day. And so I was able to go out. A number of us were able to go out and actually bird with David. He's a great guy, kind of quiet, mild-mannered, but brings new perceptions into how you look at birds. I opened up a couple of mist nets, so we were able to not only see things using binoculars, but I was able to bring in a chestnut-sided warbler, and we were able to look at that and talk about that bird and the different plumage characteristics. And again, just having David Sibley there while you're doing all this was it was great. We did it down at the Green Mountain Audubon Center, so we were able to show off the center and just have him there.
And there was someone in the group that got a little special attention?
Well, it was, it's interesting because, in the birding community, there's lots of us that, view David Sibley as, the kind of the person that followed up on, Roger Torrey Peterson. But many of us are older. You know, we're
Right.
not necessarily, you know, youngsters anymore. But we did have Charlie Harder joined us on that second day. And for him, David Sibley he wanted to meet David Sibley. He came with all of his books for David to sign. He spent the morning with us, which was great. And it's just great to see young folks out there really getting involved in birding, and you know,
it's not a usual activity for someone his age. And it's great to see that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's baseball fans, Hank Aaron, you know, your favorites in baseball and football, Tom Brady. So to see somebody come up with that much excitement, to see somebody that's, you know, a big birder is great for us. Well, he was great. He signed, you know, Charlie's book. And I drew a little picture of a shrike in the book as well. And so it was a great, just a great thing to kind of stand back and witness. So great fun.
Yeah, it sounds like it was a great time.
Yes. And then we ended the day, you know, the bunch of us you get the group picture. We were able to give David some syrup from the Audubon Center. And we were also able to give him this golden-winged warbler ornament that local woodcarver Gary Starr makes for, he does a bunch of different warbler species and bird species. And recently he came out with this golden-winged warbler. So we were able to give that to him as well.
Well, that's exciting.
And then, of course, the previous night, the night before, speaking about golden wings, we were at the reception for David, and a friend I know came up and said, David would like to see you. And I was kind of like, so this is a story I'm going to tell. Yeah, yeah. And so I went over, and it turns out David wanted to see a golden-winged warbler. And so it became my responsibility.
No pressure.
No pressure at all, you know. to produce a golden-winged warbler. Fortunately, it's a bird we have been working on here in Vermont. It's a bird we've been focusing a lot of energy on. And very close to the Green Mountain Audubon Center is Japrague's Park in Heinsberg. This is a small town-owned park that we have done some management efforts on. A couple years back, we worked with the town, with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Winooski Valley Natural Resources Conservation District, to basically manage for golden-winged warblers. It has a bunch of different trails on it, so it's a great place for people to go for birding, and it's known to have golden-winged warblers. So that's where we went.
And so how did things progress?
Well, we went to the spot, what I'd call the second bench. And at the second bench is where we found golden-winged warblers pretty regularly. But we heard the song of a blue-winged warbler. Not a golden-winged warbler, but we know from the work that we do that blue-winged warblers and golden-winged warblers sometimes sing each other's songs.
Okay.
So we looked a little bit, and then we went to a second spot, and we tried to find the golden-winged warbler there, but no luck. So we walked back to the second bench. I was getting a little nervous at this point in time. Golden-winged warblers get quiet, tend to get quiet late in June. So we went back to the second bench, and interestingly enough, Gary Starr's wife, Kathy, all of a sudden everybody's stops. Binoculars go up, camera goes up, and there's the golden-winged warbler sitting for us.
No kidding.
Now, this is the golden-winged warbler. The interesting thing is that earlier this summer, I had banded this golden-winged warbler. I went out it's the same one, and David Sibley actually saw the band on it. So we're pretty sure it was the same bird that I banded. But everybody had great looks. David hadn't seen one in years, and so was really happy to score one that day. And he even pulled in a female that was chasing the male. And so, of course, again, you get that was photo ops at the end, and that was David with myself and Jim Shallow and Kurt Alpeter, who's on our board, and I work with Jim. He's our managing director down at Audubon. So,
wow, what a day! It
was a day. I got back and sat down on the couch, and it was a really good couple of days, but was very pleased that I could.
Now, Charlie got his book signed. Did you get your book signed as well?
I did. And so I'm going to try to do this without, but this again this is my field book. So this is the book that I often bring in the field. And as you can see, it says, "Thanks for the golden-winged warbler. Great birding, David Sibley." So
that's a pretty big compliment, boy.
Yeah. So I scored a thing, and it was good all around. It was really fun. David's a great guy, and it really brought the birding community together, which was fun too.
Which has got to be kind of rare, because when you're birding, just by virtue of birding, you're out dispersed.
You're out and about, and the community does in small clumps get together. You know what I mean? You'll have groups that will go out birding, and certainly the Audubon chapters here in the state function as a medium for that. But it's rare that you get 200 plus individuals flocking to the same place. And it was great just meeting people that I hadn't seen in years sometimes. And it's just David was such a draw that it was great. It was a great time.
Now, is this one of his first times in Vermont, or has he been here before?
He's been here before, but this is the first time he's ever spoke in Vermont. He lives just down the road in Massachusetts.
Okay.
And when asked where his favorite birding place was, it wasn't Vermont, but it was Cape May, New Jersey.
Okay.
So there was a question and answer period after his talk, and that was one of the questions that came up, which is where would he go to bird, and Cape May is the place, I guess.
And so we have some time for viewer mail.
We do. I have one letter here. Let me see. This is a letter from Bill and Betsy Arnold. And they say, "Mark, we think this is a hermit thrush. Not as large as a robin. Beak looked a little long. Back seemed to be rust color. Photo isn't so good." Well, the photo is good enough, okay, on this platform feeder. This isn't a thrush, although it really does kind of have those same thrush characteristics, especially a wood thrush with that speckled breast and the brown back. But that's a brown thrasher.
Okay.
Which is a shrubland bird. It's a bird that can be very loud but very difficult to see, even though it can be right there. So a great opportunity for Bill and Betsy to see a thrasher up close like that.
Now, I noticed it was in one of the feeders that's a flat bottom feeder. Would that be indicative of that kind of bird versus a
Yeah, I mean, once you get thrushes, you would not get into a feeder like that.
Okay.
And I'm not sure exactly what they had in the feeder. It could have been, they could have had something for bluebirds or something that, some berry mixes. But again, that platform feeder, because it's a bigger bird, it's going to have a little bit more difficulty feeding on a tube feeder or some of the other feeders. So that platform feeder allows that bird to be able to come in and perch and eat.
What will we be seeing now this time of year for birds? I mean, they're going to be going quiet more or less, or? They
go quiet, but interestingly enough, we have probably more birds in the woods now than we did a month ago, because it's time for all the young birds that have fledged from their nests. So we're just now seeing a lot of young birds at the banding station at Audubon. We're catching a lot of young birds, and we're also getting a lot of calls in from people who are finding young birds. We say, look at the Vermont Fish and Wildlife Department website. You can find rehabilitators to take care of those birds. But it's
people shouldn't try to do this by themselves.
Yeah, no. We don't recommend that, and there are a number of rehabilitators out there that focus just on birds, so that's the way to go. But yeah, the woods are quiet. Not so quiet. My catbird that is outside my window is still waking me up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. But it is interesting to think that there are far more birds out there probably now than there were when the first birds, back in June when things started and birds just started nesting and setting up shop. So
yeah, I've noticed more ravens than usual, and they make quite a racket.
They do, and you may be seeing young birds as well as helpers that are coming in. And there's a great, Bernd Heinrich wrote a great book called Ravens in Winter, which talks about how ravens, I won't go into much detail there, but how adult ravens versus juvenile ravens kind of interact.
Interesting.
And you see a lot of the youngsters hang out together, which is not all that unlike us humans.
That's right. Well, if you have a bird-related question for Mark, you can write to him at Audubon, Vermont, 255 Sherman Hollow Road in Huntington. The zip code is 05462. You can also email Mark. His email address is mlabarr@audubon.org. Send Mark your questions, and he'll try to find the answers for you on an upcoming edition of Bird Notes. Great to see you.
Great to be here.
That's our program for today. I'm Judy Simpson. We'll see you again next time on Across the Fence.